morning, class. Can you imagine a class? No, this one now, today you have disappointed me. Why you have bread all over the place and it's class time already? Tea break? Tea break ended how many minutes ago? 4. Huh? You left class late. So then you have to compensate with my lesson? Huh? How will you pay attention when you are distributing bread? Why can't you distribute after the class? You cannot decide to, we say fasting. You fast for that. Even the Bible, listen, the Bible says that you can decide to surrender that bread so that a brother who is not having food somewhere. So you surrender, then that 20 shilling you contribute to somebody somewhere who is not having food. Eh? Yes? What did she say? That you'll never surrender. You fast and pray for your life. You have so many needs that you have not achieved, right? Huh? You eat and pray. When your stomach is full, you cannot concentrate on prayer. You will sleep. No. When God talks in the Bible, they just address human beings. They don't address students, parents. The only people who are allowed to eat, they are those who have diseases related to that, such as ulcers and maybe some other conditions. But when you are just safe and sound, you are supposed to take water and then you pray so that the prayers will reach. Huh? Then you are, when you go out. But you should learn from now. If you don't learn from now, how will you do it when you grow up? You will die. Hey. Why is it that the Muslim, I used to teach Muslim students, and they could fast how many days do they normally fast? And they never died. That is why I'm saying you start now so that you are used to fasting. Yeah. And especially now that you had an opportunity, you would have surrendered that bread and you just send money to charity homes. Okay. So, how far did you go in Unit 2? How far did you go? You finished reading? The first chapter, we discussed part of it, right? Yes. Did we finish? Yes. We did finish. From page 10, you stopped there. Yes. Did you read? Yes. No. So what did you read yesterday? But we had already discussed, I thought, up to page 10. Or where? So you read from page 4 to? Okay. So we discussed that part that you read with the teacher. All right? Okay. So tell me about that episode from Dr. Afolabi. What did you acquire from there? Anything you acquired from Dr. Afolabi? Had someone call? Can someone tell us about what is happening there? What is happening there? Paragraph 1, page 4.
was dressed in a scarlet blouse and a black skirt.
So by that moment, who is Dr. Folabi and who is the woman? Let me have one person speaking. Yes. Oh, yes. Who is Dr. Folabi in this situation? Why is this woman following him? Yes.
She wanted to interview.
So why did she want to interview? Who was Dr. Folabi in this situation here? Because journalists don't come to you just like that. They must know that you have important information. So what was Dr. Folabi doing there?
Miss Mackenzie knew that Dr. Folabi was heading to the summit.
So Dr. Folabi was heading to the summit as who?
An advisor for the heads of state.
An advisor for the heads of state. Remember, the heads of state did not want to read whatever was being given to them to discuss in the summit, right?
Yes.
They just wanted someone to advise them whether to pick that or this, and why is it necessary. All right?
Yes.
Now, when Mackenzie comes to Dr. Folabi, what does she inquire or what does she present herself as? You know, before you have a stranger talking to you, there is a procedure. So what does Mackenzie do to make sure that Dr. Folabi gains her trust? What does she do? One person only, Yeah, loud enough? Yeah, so she begins to share who she is. She tells us that she was an orphan, right?
Yes.
Then she was adopted by who? Ian Mackenzie and? Elizabeth Mackenzie. So Elizabeth Mackenzie and Ian Mackenzie were from Scotland, right?
Yes.
They were missionaries. Of course, we know missionaries sometimes adopt orphans and they take care of them. So they had to stay with her. No wonder she has a very articulate way of communication. And then later on, where did they go? Yes? They went back to Edinburgh. So that time they used to be in Banjul, Gambia, but they now relocated. Now, one question I normally ask, though I don't want you to answer, how comes they went back to Edinburgh and they have adopted her and they never went back with her? Because when you are adopted by someone, you become their child, right?
Yes.
How comes they did not want to go with her? Anyway, let's proceed. Okay, so we have her autobiography. She is giving herself that information. Of course, for you to introduce yourself to a stranger, for them to trust you, you have to inform them who you are. All right? Yes. By the time we are on page 6, what happens? Page 86, what do we see? Page 6, not 86. Page 6, what do we see? Yeah. I thought you wanted to speak. Yes.
Dr. Folabi introduced himself.
Dr. Afolabi?
Introduced himself.
And then what did Mackenzie do? Yes.
Miss Mackenzie seems to know more about Dr. Folabi since she knew that he studied at Harvard University in the US and he's teaching at the University of Ibadan in Nigeria. And also he's the author of Failure of States.
Yeah. So as a journalist, before you go to interview someone, you must know about them. Because there is no way you are going to sit me down and begin talking to me and you don't know anything about me. So journalists normally have a task. As you are going to interview someone, you must know. I don't know whether were you at home when there was an interview between the journalist Okwaro and Gashagwa?
Yes.
Did she know about Gashagwa?
Yes.
So you must know. Anybody you are interviewing, for those of you who want to be journalists, you must research about the person you are going to interview about so that you don't look lost. Okay. And the next question, the next understanding from below. Does Mackenzie actually have the satisfaction that that is who actually she was going to meet from the appearance of Dr. Folabi?
No.
Why? Yes? Uh-huh.
Because she expected to see an academic staff.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so she had expectation to have academic scarecrow dressed in jeans. I don't know, for whatever reason. Whether she's judgmental, I don't know. But then she comes to see a well-dressed man who looks like a business person. The next page, page 7, you read that also.
Yes.
What do you see there? Page 7, what do you see? What does Mackenzie then ask after they have introduced to each other? There is the next step on page 7. What is that? Yes.
She asked for the heart of their debate.
So she wanted to understand the deep details about the debate and what is going on. Does Afolabi know? What is his answer?
Debating on a document titled Way Omega.
There's a discussion surrounding Way Omega. Now, many of you, sometimes the students before, they fail to understand from the onset what Way Omega is. Do you understand what Way Omega is? After you read here, did you know what it is?
Yes.
What is it? At the back, please participate. What is Way Omega from this page? What is Y omega? It is? Yes. Yeah, it's a strategy or a document that will serve to develop Africa, and it was discovered by laureates, right? The Nobel laureates, 20 of them. Then they published it, and then they want Africa to adopt. Do you think those laureates are Africans?
No.
Possibly not. What does that suggest then? What does that suggest? When you rely on policies from another nation, especially developed world, to practice that in your country, what do we call that? Do you know anything known as neocolonialism? You don't know?
Yes.
You don't know? Even in Kiswahili, you have not handled ukoloni mambo leo. You've never even heard anyone talking about that. Yes? You have heard?
Yes.
Some of you have heard possibly, and you need to expose yourself to a lot of things. You don't only do classwork, because some of the things you learn also relate out there, and especially those who are taking history. Neocolonialism is when we take policies from outside and apply to ourselves. So, like these strategies, do they really stand for us? Look at, for example, CBC. We took it very fast and brought it. Do you think the students who are sitting for grade 9 this year, all of them are ready, or they have gone through the right channel of CBC? Why? Because we borrowed that policy from outside, we rushed it on students, we don't have resources, we don't have, the teachers, some of them are not ready for it, parents are not ready for it. Because parents in America, most children in America don't have space even to interact with neighbors. If you live in America, you realize that most times you just live in your house alone. It's even hard enough to relate with the neighbor, unless otherwise. People, even some of them work at night, some during the day. So your children will stay in your house and your compound, and most of them are gated to separate you from your neighbor. And therefore, parents have been forced to buy technological devices. In all homes, there is maybe a computer, there is Wi-Fi. Do we have that in Africa? Especially Kenya. So that a very small child knows how to operate a computer, Wi-Fi, can research information, study using that. Do we have that ability? Here, when you open the TV, what do you watch? You watch dances, you watch songs. Hardly even do students watch news. Hardly. When they open a phone, like they have taken their phone, the phone of the parent, what do they use for? TikTok. And when you go to that TikTok, they'll be laughing at comedy, they'll be laughing at, so much. And I don't know why TikTok has not been vetted. Because people throw there anything, any trash. Like it's not controlled, because Facebook and Facebook, especially professional, you cannot throw around anything. Also YouTube, you cannot just go posting anything and then people allow you. It will be blocked. So you realize that in Kenya, we don't have that, like students have not gone through the right channel, yet we are copying the exact system like we want to study like in America. As a class like this, we should be, according to CBs, we should sit in circles. It's not allowed to sit like this. The teacher should only sit here. When I come, I say, now we are going through Unit 1. Did you read? Yes. Now tell us. This group tells us this one. And then we conclude, yeah, this is what is there. We go to Unit 2. We are not supposed to learn the way we are doing. That is CBC by day. Very easy work for the teacher. But then, if schools had, like, even in this class we have computers, I can tell you research about this. Do you have anything related to this? Yes, you check, you tell. That is CBC supposed to be practical lessons. Practical, thoroughly practical, nothing theoretical. And it should be hands-on for the students. The teacher should oversee and facilitate, not talk. Like I should talk very minimal times in a lesson. Are we ready for that? Are we so sure that our students at grade 9 will be coming grade 8 next year and all of them are ready for it? Then you should go based on your ability. If you are good in dancing, you have to be given room so that you have a place and several dances. You go through all types of dances, American, Kenyan, You learn all the dances in Kenya. You learn all the dances in Asia and become an expert in dancing. Are we ready for that?
Yes.
No, I'm asking whether the country is ready for that. Do you have room for? Because dancing rooms, by the way, dancing rooms are not supposed to be open spaces. When you go to universities where dances are done, like KU, it has a specific dancing room. Yes. And we have costumes that you are supposed to have. Huh? When it comes to filming, do we have our students ready for that? No. Because that is what the syllabus says. And if you are good at math, then you should be focused on that and sciences and practically go to the lab and even, come up with discoveries of even medicine. So that is what we see here. And one of the questions will be coming most times on this. That is why I'm emphasizing on that part. Now let's go to the next part. Dr. Folabi is saying that this strategy will help to eliminate what? What will it do away with in Africa if they adopt way omega? And remember we said way omega is like a way to what? A way to end. So what will it end in Africa? Yes? What will it end at the last paragraph, page 7? Out and out fall players who rose to power through military coups. Coups. The P is silent. Military coups. Okay? And rigged Elections. Okay, the next page. Next, page 8. Yeah, so when you get to page 8, we have something else that comes out. Mackenzie asked Afolabi something. What did he ask? What did he, not really Mackenzie. Mackenzie asked Afolabi about Way Omega and his book. What did he ask? What did she ask? Yes? Yeah. Yes.
She asked him what makes you this optimistic about African future now.
Yeah. So she asked, if you wrote a book called Failures of States, the failure of Africa, how comes now you believe that there will be change? How comes you are hopeful? Optimistic means being hopeful. How comes you are hopeful that something will come up and will have these changes you are talking about? Do you think Mackenzie aimed to, to make Afolabi look like he doesn't know what he's doing? Being a journalist, what do you think? Yes. So you believe that she was doubting whether Afolabi is really going to argue out correctly about Way Omega? Yes? Somehow there's that point, but maybe another thing is just to dig out information, because as a journalist, you ask questions you know many people out there will be asking. Obviously, if, for example, I live my life and I don't believe in positivity, can I really stand and say that we have a future ahead of us? No. So it is possibly to probe Afolabi into proving that he really can now take the opposite side of life. Okay? Now, is Afolabi excited about this question? No. How do we know? What does he do? Yes. Yeah, automatically began to dislike Mackenzie and said that I had thought that she's a good-mannered journalist. But I think she's just as a lioness and dangerous as any other person. Now he begins to ask, what do you gain by being rude to me? What do you gain by making us offended? And then he reminds her, do you know that I was invited by not just one president, but what? Presidents. Presidents. Repeat. Presidents. Yeah, you can imagine. Now, what does that tell us about Afolabi? He's what? Yeah. He's proud. Something else. He's famous. Why do you say he's famous? He wrote a book then? But I'm not banking on what he has done, but on how he's talking to Afolabi. Indeed, that part is popular and is wise. That is why they are able even to invite. Because for you to be invited to advise 50 heads of states, it's not easy. You must be a knowledgeable person for you to be invited in such a place. You had something? He is also judgmental. He judges the journalist so fast that the journalist is a lioness, dangerous. Every journalist, of course, when you go for an interview with a journalist, be sure that they'll ask you that information you think you don't want to talk about. They'll ask you. That's why even Okwara was asking Gachagua, you talked about things to do with Kenya and the president having a meeting with the Al-Shabaab. Do you have evidence? Then she again went back to, are you a tribalist or are you a nationalist? When you are in America, you met the people from Mulima alone. Tell us, what do you stand for? So they'll ask you those questions you don't want to. Though Gachagua composed himself and answered, then told her, you can check on my details. When I was there, I did not only go to people from Lima, I also visited the Kisii people and this and that. So you have to be ready because they'll ask you. For example, if you have ever beaten somebody and that person was taken to hospital, I remember also Babu was also invited. It was over the holiday. Did you watch? Though it was on a radio station, Kameme FM. And he was asked, did you bribe that person, that boy who was shot in a pub, for him to calm down? You can imagine, they'll ask you those questions. So journalists have to do that. So does it mean they become dangerous? They are only being scheming and devoted to their work, because that is their work. Any journalist who will not dig for that is not good for an interview. Okay. Then we realize that Afolabi is also very temperamental, right? Yeah, he becomes emotional because he was offended and began to say, repeat, presidents. There is so merit in that book. You say it's pessimistic. What do you know about books anyway? Let me tell you something, Mackenzie. Then now he changes his mind. He realizes he's being too defensive. Because if you write a book, you don't have to keep defending and saying that what I've written is the best of the best. Let the people read. If they decide it's the best, they'll go for it. So he even calls Afolabi a third-rate reporter. You know, when someone tells you you're a third-rate person, they are demeaning you, right? Yeah, so it means they are so proud and they're arrogant at the same time. Okay? So we see that at the end of the day, did you reach page 10? You told me you reached page 10?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So what happens above, at page 10 above? What happens to Mackenzie? Yes. Dr. Folabi? Is it rude or distancing? Like he does not want anything to do with her because he believes she is rude, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Anything else? Yes.
Mackenzie got a call from the boss.
Yeah, Mackenzie gets a call from the boss. Uh-huh. Something else. Yeah.
Dr. Folabi refused her to return an interview.
He did what?
She refused for her to return an interview.
Yeah, so when Mackenzie said, can I come back later? And he said, go read what? Yeah, go read my book. You better go understand my book instead of asking me such questions. And he was so angry, you know. He almost shouted at her. Absolutely not. So you see that one is showing how hot-tempered he is, you know. Did you read the lower part, 49 foreign heads? No. So we can read that now. Okay, let's start together.
49 foreign heads of states were in Banjul for the summit. All looked happy, and why not? Had they not escaped from troublemakers in their home countries? They saw ahead of them a stay free from trouble here. In the Gambia, a country everyone kept calling, the land of Kunta Kinte. All hope to get from their stay as much rest as possible. Of course, at some point they will each take the floor and as fans back home expected, address the summit. But this was something that they could do with little or no effort at all. For Gambians, though 49 heads of states could give a hosting country good publicity, but heads of state huge inconvenience. So this publicity comes at a high price. Now the price higher than it is in Africa. Here, before the dignitaries arrive, bulldozers night in slum clearance exercises, demolished roadside kiosks on which whole families depend for their livelihood. This way, the dignitaries will see that a few streets once had sidewalks. Roads get rare layers of tarmac at times of maximum traffic. This way, motorists come to a standstill when it really hurts. Checkpoints sprout everywhere. This way, guards get even more bases for extorting bribes from passers-by. When the dignitaries finally arrive, water taps at which whole neighborhoods queue to get just buckets of water dry up. Because now all water has to go to new water fountains to catastrophes can happen even at summits. At the Banjul summit, preventing them from happening was a joint responsibility of the Ministry of Internal Security and the Ministry of Defense. This meant both the police and the army played major roles. Up with a very effective way of assuring that all heads of state would be safe. It was this: all heads of state, including the host, would stay in one place, the Pinnacle Hotel, located on the exclusive outskirts of Banjul. What this did was to reduce the 50 problems of assuring the safety of 50 guests scattered in 50 different locations with just one problem. That of assuring the safety of 50 guests concentrated at only one point. Security now became no more than the elementary task of ensuring that the Pinnacle This approach rested on two pillars: intelligence and combat. Intelligence meant secret agents melting into every hideout in Banjul. Their assignment was to investigate all rumors about plans to storm the Pinnacle and harm its new guests. That duty went to the police. Combat meant trained soldiers would engage in battle with any unauthorized person who did as much as come near the Pinnacle. This duty fell on the army. The army was very clever about it. First, it ringed the perimeter fence exactly in the Pinnacle with 1,000 soldiers. Then, it deployed 100 commandos in the compound inside the fence. Each of these soldiers and commandos, outside the fence and in the compound within, carried a real gun. So, while the sky above may have remained open, the ground below was fully covered. This was very clever. There still remained Banjul's duty to explain to each head of state his or her duty state. This duty is commonly known as protocol. At the summit, it fell on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of International Cooperation. What these ministries did was to divide it into two separate parts. The first was how to sit the heads of state at their feast when the government was treating them to a status of the day they arrived. The second was how to accommodate them at the Pinnacle Hotel where they would stay between their arrival and their departure. No one who has played host at a feast of more guests than just himself or herself needs to be told that the seemingly simple task of sitting guests for a meal is in fact a complicated business. Should this guest sit here and eat next to that one, or sit there and eat next to that other? The permutations and combinations that the host has to consider quickly become countless. For one guest, just one, there are already 4 options from which the host must choose. The guest could sit on the left or the right of the host, or in front, or or even behind the host. For 5 guests, there are more than 700 such options. By the count of 10 guests, this number has jumped to over 30 million. The Gambia did not have only 10 guests. It had 49. In addition, they were not just guests, they were presidents. What happens when the guests are not just guests but presidents? Now the host simply plays itself. Eritrea and Ethiopia might seem one country. The host reasons, but their presidents rarely see eye to eye, so they should not be seated next to each other. On the other hand, the host continues to reason. Kenya and Tanzania agree more often than they disagree, so their presidents should sit next to each other and chat away in Kiswahili, and so on. This approach eliminates many options and, in that way, simplifies choice. In fact, when the host is entertaining only 2 or 3 heads of state, it works wonders. However, if instead there are 49, it is practically worthless, because it leaves millions of options from which the host must choose. Then what do hosts do at Senate banquets, where guests definitely are many? They follow the United Nations, like the UN. They ignore all rumors about who is speaking or not speaking to whom and simply sit everybody in alphabetical order. Come what may. Alphabetical seating has one huge advantage. It is easy because now there is only one way of seating everybody. A happier world than that is hard to imagine. Still, it has one big problem. Seating everybody in alphabetical order means Algeria and Angola always get the best seats. Up in front, near the high table, when the sound system or the lights fails, these 2 countries can still follow the proceedings. Unfortunately, alphabetical seating also means Zambia and Zimbabwe always get the worst seats, way over there at the back, from where they cannot even see the high table. When the sound system fails or the lights go out, big problems. What other option is there? Scramble the alphabet and move Zambia and Zimbabwe nearer the high table, and Algeria and Angola further away from it. People would not be able to find their seats that way. The trick they use to find seats works sequentially. Malians scan the sea of seats before them in sequence until they spot a Malawian or a Mozambican. Then they say, Eureka! Our seats must be somewhere between those 2. Now scramble this approach away. What happens? Chaos. Banquet hall cease to be navigable. So Zambia and Zimbabwe can complain all they want, but their seats just have to be at the back. Algeria and Angola, way to go. Hotel accommodation involves 2 questions. First, what floor should this head of state or that get? Second, how many rooms should his or her delegation have? The first question was easy. Heads of state got floors up or down the pinnacle in the alphabetical order of their countries' official names. Once more, Algeria and Angola got top floors. Under A, way to go. Botswana, Burkina Faso and Burundi followed. Under B, now attention. The Ivory Coast did not come under I. It came under C, among the likes of Cameroon, the Comoros and Congo, because Putin and the rest came after C. For some unknown reason, the Federal Republic of Nigeria did not come under F. It came under N, alongside Namibia and Niger. Zambia and Zimbabwe, of course, came last. The second question was how many rooms should a head of state delegation get? This question sounds easy, but it is not, except for the United Nations General Assemblies. African summits are the world's largest gatherings of heads of state. Moreover, each head of state is accompanied by a delegation with members of unknown. So, how many rooms should a delegation get? This is not easy. Gambians can be clever, and in this case, they were. They assumed that all delegations, big or small, having arrived in Banjul safely, had to be equal, if only for that reason. Very clever. This assumption enabled them to divide the number of rooms available equally among all delegations. The result was 4 rooms per delegation, and that was that. Case closed.
So it's unfortunate that has a lot of information, but from the look of the questions I've been checking, you have to know about the inconveniences. These guests are coming. What inconveniences do we have? Can we just mention them? What problems does the country hosting presidents experience? And that is a common question asked. They say that our visitors are not just a blessing, but sometimes a curse to the country they visit. Write an essay. So we want to see the problems the country hosting can have. Yes. Security. So when presidents are visiting, unlike any other person, the country hosting must make sure that they take care of security. And I think in the story you can see that Gambia has to go to use 2 approaches, right? Intelligence and combat. Intelligence to allow them to know, what people want to do and when. And that is why we are having like a lot of security over the Pinnacle Hotel. And that is why they also have to place all the presidents in one hotel, so that if they secure, only be that hotel. And also they have to use combat to acquire trained soldiers to prevent unprofessional and unauthorized people from getting to that hotel and also to the summit. Like if someone has to go in or out, they have to be checked inside, out. What other problem does Gambia face apart from security? Yes. Yeah, water shortage. And what causes that? According to the story, what causes that? Because we expect a country, yeah.
The water has to build some water fountain to mesmerize the villagers.
I don't know whether you know fountains. You know water fountains?
Yes.
Especially anyone who has been in Nairobi. I think you went to the parliament.
Yes.
Some of you, not all of you, but some of you went. And if you didn't go, please travel through virtual. That is why we have phones, we have the computers and internet. You just check the fountain, the water fountain, and then you see how it is. So when they channel water, then it spreads out. Yeah. I think there is none in your town here. Where is it? There's no place that it is. Oh, so I just saw that maybe it's only in Nairobi, Kisumu. Even homes you can have that. Yeah, so the fountains. Can you imagine a whole nation diverting all the water to the fountains to mesmerize the guests at the expense of the citizens? So citizens don't have water. What is that? It is poor leadership, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because citizens cannot lack. Water is a basic need. It's among the things that we cannot survive without. Then now you make visitors who have come for a summit to just be mesmerized, to look at the fountains and feel happy, whereas the citizens don't have water. Any other problem we see? Yes. Yeah?
What's damage?
The roads are damaged. Really? Yeah, so they create, when you are tarmacking a road, you know very well that you cannot use it immediately, right? Yes. You have to divert the vehicles. And what does that cause to the citizens? Traffic jam. And also, the police now get an opportunity to begin extorting from the people who are using the road. We see that they are asking for bribes on the motorists. So that becomes another problem. Any other? Yeah.
The advisors agreed to demolish the place.
You can imagine. And that, do you remember? You were small maybe. When Barack Obama came to Kenya.
Yes.
You were how old?
1 year.
Do you then remember? But maybe if you ask your parents, when Barack Obama came to Kenya, they decided to demolish places around Nairobi, and they also had to carry the street boys and transfer them to other towns, so that they make Nairobi look like it's the best of the best. You know, even in this school, when you people, you hear the ministry is coming, now you want to really pretend that you are very clean. Even in the dorm, I don't know, sparkling. I don't know. That pretentious aspect of hypocrisy, I'm not good at that. When I don't like you, I don't like you. If I can't do something, I just can't do. I don't have time to pretend, because for how long can you pretend? How long? You know? So just be you. I think being you it's so easy. You are not a prisoner to anyone or anything. But many people like pretense. Yes. On Sunday, then once you leave the church, what will come out of your mouth? What will you will do to others? Hey, so let's learn to just live a natural life. Don't pretend. You see me, then you are hiding. Why do you hide? You run back, you now begin. That is pretense. Stop that. Just clean your class because it must be clean, not because the teacher will come and beat me. Wake up because you have to wake up, not because the teacher on duty is harsh. Because for how long? You know, sometimes as teachers, you reach a time you are tired. Why should you run about people? Someone who is next year going to university, why should I be always running after you? How much will you pay me? How much? You want me to make you responsible? You know that is a whole responsibility of your mother. Then you want me to be your mother now in school, and I'm your teacher. You want me to be a soldier, to be a nurse, to be... That's too much. So do something just because you know you have to. If you have to read, read. But you are there dozing or lying in a book, then a teacher... No. So you see, that president of Gambia was pretentious. How do you demolish kiosks which people rely on for livelihood? They sit there and sell things in the evening just because you want the roads to mesmerize again, to look like your country is the perfect. Do you have anything perfect in the world? No. As long as you are on earth, never will you be perfect. You will be good in some things and maybe not good in others. So we see that pretense, and it really affects lives, because after demolishing, will they construct for them? No. They will not. Then we see another problem becomes on accommodation and housing of the guests, right? Yes. The president has to struggle to see how will they arrange the seats. How about the place of sleeping? How many rooms will they be assigned? You've seen a situation whereby we are having people coming from Kenya to America. We only needed 5 people, but each one person goes with others. Mpango. So there are so many. Now, how many rooms do you have for these people? We have seen those problems, by the way. So when you are, you are allowed to go to a summit, the president did not just go as themselves. You read that statement on page 10, that they were happy to have left their homes. They had escaped from troublemakers in their countries. They had also seen an opportunity to stay free from trouble and enjoy the land of Kunta Kinte. How many of you know Kunta Kinte? Last year or this year, January, you are saying you are friends to TikTok. TikTok was trending with Kunta Kinte. Any of you who saw it? Kumbe wao mnaangalia tu mambo yenu. Kunta Kinte was a very famous person in Gambia, very strong man. So he was taken as a slave to America, and because he was extremely strong, they decided to use him to breed stronger people in America. Yeah, he became like a bull to breed. So that is why they refer to Gambia as the land of Kunta Kinte. And this is something you have to know because it's in your book. So let's end there. We'll proceed in the next lesson, maybe to write some notes. Yeah. Bye. Nimekaa sana. Oh. Adiv, Edith, what is your surprise? I normally do answer a lot of questions for academic students, academic writers. Edith.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.